A chat with Glendora, a show for living right. A chat with Glendora makes your day so bright. Words of inspiration, jokes to make you smile. Come relax and chat with Glendora for a while. 2. Well, hi there, folks. Today your friend Vicky is here, our colleague, and we are going to make a video to put on the YouTube, to put on your cell phone, a meditation. And I think this is a meditation that will make more sense to you folks, because I did it in the middle of the night or in the middle of the morning, and I did it all alone with just you and I together. You know, you really can't be one with God when you're in front of a TV camera, or when there's a camera person around, or when you're worried about how long the video is and it has to be 28 minutes. That really is not conducive to oneness with God, is it? So these meditations were done in privacy, make-believe with you only. And they start on June the 3rd, Monday, in the year 2024, Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. So, Vicky, shall we roll?
Yes.
You want more time, my dear Vicky?
Nope, we're good.
And I didn't record Science and Health with Jenny Sawyer and somebody named Nancy, I think. The name doesn't come through. There's something wrong with me, I think. I
Honey,
just
let's
don't
put
get
this
those
up
names.
here, closer to the camcorder.
Okay.
Here. You like that better, folks?
Oh, and Brittany. This is Brittany time. Hey, Google, call Brittany.
Calling Brittany Com Caregivers.
Calling Brittany Com
Mobile.
Caregivers. Mobile.
This is Monday, June 3rd, Franklin's
Good
birthday.
for you, Vicky.
This
Are
is
all
Franklin's
systems
glory
go?
week.
Yes.
$700. We didn't touch it.
I don't know where you are.
$1,000.
Over
We
here?
stayed within it.
Yeah, I'm right across from her.
We stayed right within the $1,000.
Oh,
Your call has been
is this
forwarded
Brittany
to a
live on the
voice
phone?
message system. Brittany dial is not available. At the
Yeah, I
tone,
may have heard
please
you.
record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Google, stop.
Okay, Brittany, gonna...
Is a volunteer for community caregivers. She's a volunteer. She wants to help people. She wants to do things for people. So she just put her name in. And they called her and they interviewed her. And they assigned me to her. And do you know, folks, that she reads to me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. And we have learned so many things. Vicky, she subscribes to the New York Times.
Oh.
And therefore the New York Times lets her reproduce a certain number of articles.
Mm-hmm.
And she reads me these beautiful special articles about people doing good things all over the world as reported in the New York Times.
Wow, that's amazing.
No, honey, I want to say to everybody that's called community caregivers. And if you want to volunteer and be nice to people, call them.
Mm-hmm.
And they will find out your attributes and how you can help a person go grocery shopping, maybe. Right, Vicky?
Right, yeah. I love that.
Community caregivers. Okay, honey, now have I messed up everything, our whole program?
No, I'll stitch it together later.
Can you repair us?
Yes, I can. So, shall I put the meditation back on with you talking to Brittany?
Yes, please.
All right. And we're going to go.
Check.
that,
Why, that is not a coincidence, honey. That was planned. That was designed.
yeah, I guess. I mean, there's so many really important organizations, and every month I don't remember what we're usually
No, today,
when they come to.
this afternoon, honey, at 1 o'clock, streaming, is the Christian Science annual meeting. And if you want to hear people who are really close to the force of the universe, this is it. They're the best thing that we have going.
And I believe they have farther to go.
But you're saying that's a religious program, correct?
Yes, at 1 o'clock this afternoon
Yeah.
will be their annual meeting.
Oh, okay.
And you can get it on streaming.
Okay.
Go to christianscience.com annual meeting.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, it is very interesting. You have nothing to lose, honey.
Yeah. Well, I'm not able to do that because I will be tied up with work. But anyway, hopefully for the people that are Christian Scientists, they'll be able to go.
And I'm going to tell them that they're the best thing that we have going today, but they don't go far enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's much farther they could go. Listen, honey, I'm fascinated by that New Yorker article. Would you finish it?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to keep reading. Okay.
Now, who was the man who wrote that?
Vicky, give me a cue when you're at
Oh,
27 minutes.
Okay, will do.
Thank you. And what year?
Definitely know that name. October 31st, 2022.
Excellent. Keep going. It is fascinating. He said he was brushing his teeth when he had the heart attack.
This is Jack Welch, the CEO of General Electric.
Let's see.
Considered
I
to
gotta
be
get back to our place.
the greatest CEO of all times. They gave him $417 million when he retired, Vicky.
Wow.
Okay, so we had just read about the time where he was senior in high school and his hockey team lost, and his mother went into the locker room and she yelled at him. So that was...
She said, "You punk, if you don't learn to lose, you're not going to learn to win."
Correct, exactly. Wow, you have a mind like a steel trap. Excuse me. Okay. Excuse me.
It's nothing to sneeze at.
He was Irish.
After college,
okay.
at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, he earned a PhD in chemical engineering at the University of Illinois. His thesis was on condensation in nuclear power plants. Quote, "I thought it was the most important thing in my life," he tells Cohen. "For many people, years of immersion in a complex intellectual endeavor would leave an imprint. Not for Welch. Condensation in nuclear power plants does not come up again." Golf, by contrast, was, quote, "one of the few constants in Jack's life," Cohen writes. "One way or another, there was always golf. But did he like the game for its own sake, or was it simply to adapt Clausewitz's dictum, the continuation of business by other means?" After Welch left GE, the details of his retirement package were made public. It included a pension of $7.4 million a year and a mountain of perks. He got the use of a company Boeing 737 at an estimated cost of $3.5 million a year. Yeah, and what toll on the environment.
How's that,
He
Vic?
got an apartment in
Wow.
Donald Trump's One Central Park West, plus deals at the restaurant Jean Georges downstairs, courtside seats at Knicks games, a subsidy for a car and driver, box seats at the Metropolitan Opera, discounts on diamond and jewelry settings, and on and on. All this for someone worth an estimated $900 million. And then, finally, GE agreed to pay the monthly dues at the 4 golf clubs where he played. It would be nice to hear from the high-priced attorney who negotiated that last line item. Would it have been a deal breaker? Did Welch believe golf had been so central to his performance as CEO that it made sense for the company's shareholders?
Yeah.
I just lost my place. To pay those monthly dues. A few months after he recovered from his bypass surgery, Welch went to see his heart surgeon, Carrie Aiken. They had become friends. He was incredibly cordial for somebody who was that powerful, Aiken told Cohen. Welch had wanted the operation to be done on a Friday so that he would have 3 days of recovery under his belt before the news hit the stock market. And Aikens obliged. Now Welch wanted to talk. You're doing great, Aikens told him. Well, go ahead and ask your question, Jack said. What? Aikens replied. Go ahead and ask your question, he said again. What do you mean? Aikens responded, genuinely confused. Well, I presume you're going to want me to give you some money, Jack said. You didn't pay your bill? Aikens replied. Come on now, Jack said. You must have thought about this. Do you want me to donate something? Jack, it never crossed my mind, Aikens replied. Aikens had performed a feat of skill, born of professional dedication. Welch saw a shakedown in the office. And maybe that's the key. Welch was most comfortable reducing anything of value to a transaction. He gave Aikens a generous donation, though it came from GE's charitable foundation, not from his own pocket. It has become fashionable to deride today's tech CEOs for their grandiose ambitions. Colonizing Mars, curing all human disease, digging a world-class tunnel. But shouldn't we prefer these outsized delusions to the moral impoverishment of Welch's era? Quote, in all of our many discussions, the only time he spoke about his children was when he told me that he loved them to pieces, but that he had made a mistake when he gave each of them a bunch of GE stock when he first became CEO. Cohen writes, because the stock had performed well, they each had something like $50 million in company shares. Although 2 of his 4 kids went to Harvard Business School and 1 went to Harvard's Graduate School of Design, they all quit their jobs, disappointing their father. It turned out differently than I'd hoped, Welch told Cohen. We're close, but they got too much money. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have given it to them. A father reflects after a lifetime on his troubled relationship with his children and concludes that he should have adjusted their compensation. As Welch prepared for retirement from GE in 2001, the search for his successor became a public spectacle. He identified 3 possible internal candidates. Their faults and their strengths were openly debated. The financial press was riveted. The choice was up in the air until the last minute when Welch settled on Jeff Immelt, who was then running GE's healthcare unit. Welch had had his eye on Immelt for a long time. Years before, Welch had sent him to appliance manufacturing hub there. The job was stressful, and Immelt's weight hit 280 pounds. Quote, you're never going to be CEO if you don't lose weight, Cohen reports Welch telling him. You've got to get your effing weight down. Can't have everybody effing fat. When Immelt took over from Welch, he addressed a gathering of top GE managers in Boca Raton. Only time will tell if Jack is the best business leader ever, but I know he is one of the greatest human beings I have ever met, Immelt said. But by that point, the Welch legend was so huge that such blandishments seemed obligatory. What Immelt quickly discovered was that Welch had handed him a mess, a company built out of global financial crisis arrived, the elaborate game that Welch had been playing with GE Capital collapsed. Wall Street woke up to the fact that a non-bank was every bit as risky as a real bank, and that the company never quite recovered. Immelt was eventually forced out in disgrace. Almost 2 decades after Welch handed the reins to Immelt, Cohen met Welch for lunch at the Nantucket Golf Club. All Welch wanted to talk about was how terrible a job he thought his successor had done. The share price had collapsed, and Welch was disconsolate. He's full of shit, Jack said. He's a bullshitter. But Jack, I asked, didn't you choose Jeff? Yes, he could see that he had. That's my burden, and I have to live with it, he continued. But people have been hurt. Employees, people's pensions, shareholders. It's bad. There were tears in his eyes. I effed up, he said. I effed up. As Cohen and Welch ate lunch, the golfer Phil Mickelson and the CEO of Barclays came over to pay homage. Welch may have been long gone from the C-suite, but in a certain kind of country club dining room, he remained a rock star. Then Welch offered to drive Cohen back to his house a few miles away. They got into Welch's Jeep Cherokee, and Welch refused to put on his seatbelt, so the warning bell chimed the whole ride back. Off he drove. When he got to the left turn out of the Nantucket Golf Club onto Milestone Road, he did something odd. Instead of keeping to the right side of Milestone Road, as other American drivers do, he decided to drive in the middle of the road, with the Cherokee straddling the yellow line. Needless to say, the drivers coming toward us on Milestone were freaking out. One after another, they all pulled off to the right onto the grassy edge of the street, giving Jack full clearance to continue driving down the middle of the road. He didn't seem to notice. Interesting. So that's the end of it.
No, could you?
Really?
The end of the article. Yeah.
Really?
That's really the end of it. Yeah.
Really?
Thank you, New Yorker.
Well, okay. I impart to you my feeling that this story isn't over. I want to hear the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's all Malcolm Gladwell wrote about it, so I don't know what to tell you.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you to read me Wikipedia.
Ugh.
Oh, you don't want to do it? Okay.
Well, it's just that the thing about Wikipedia, Glendora, is that it's so dry, right? I mean, one of the reasons we're saying this is such a good article is because it was written by a real writer. And
What's the time, Vicky? How many minutes have we done?
It just
15.
ends that way, but
15
I guess maybe
minutes.
that was the end of the interviewer's
How
time
many?
with
15.
15?
Yeah.
I mean, what else do we need to know about Jack Welch? Like, you know,
I
what
lost my
happened after that day? I
comment
mean,
on
so let
that
me
one.
think about
Yeah.
that, because that was almost 20 years, not quite 20 years after he had retired. And he died in 2020, so that was probably not long before he died. So maybe there just wasn't that much left. I don't know.
I understand. I understand. I'll go on with somebody else, honey. But I'm going to hear the end of the story.
You might hear more about Jack Welch, but I think that was the end of this story, is what I'm saying. If you still have questions about who he is, we can look that information up, but it's certainly not going to be the same. You know, Wikipedia is a collection of hopefully facts, right? Anybody can edit it at any time. So we're hoping that the information on there is correct, but it's not written from a first person, typically. It's not written from a second person perspective, but the article we just read.
Okay, honey, it's all right. Drop it. You don't want to do it. What do you want to do next?
Let's see.
You got anything in the Times?
Oh, probably. Let's see what we got here. Where's me?
3 days a week, I repeat. She reads to me, 8:30 to 9 a.m.
Oh, I thought this was interesting. Replacing prison uniforms with custom suits. Let's see. Bindle and Keith, a suit maker in Brooklyn, offered free formal wear to newly exonerated men and women trying to
What do you
rebuild
think
their
of that,
lives.
Vicky?
Wow.
I thought that sounded like a really nice story because obviously it's, you know, something horrible to happen to these people unfairly. And then this wonderful custom suit maker that's made them something really special. Let's see. About 2,000 sea lions roaming. Let's see. A volcano erupted in Iceland, spewing lava 150 feet into the air.
Wow.
Wow.
These are articles from the New York
What else
Times
do we
she's telling us
have?
about.
So many.
Which one do you want to read?
I was thinking the prison uniforms. We'll see how long it is, but that one, you know, because it's a tale of. Oh, maybe it's too long.
Dear Vicky,
Mm-hmm.
would you pause
Yeah,
Pause the recording and pause the playback.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2. What
Do
would
you know that aging is a matter of the mind? If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
right?
Yeah.
Aging is a matter of the mind. If you don't
Right.
mind,
No,
it doesn't
yeah. No, I've heard that before. Yeah, I know, and it just made me think. I wonder when they perform these tests on people, and they'll say, well, you know, maybe you're biological, right? Maybe like chronologically or something, according to your birth date, this is how old you are. But we perform these tests, and then this is really how old you are. And you just, what you said just made me think, I wonder how their mental state factors into that, right? Like, I wonder if their mental health or their ability to relax, to not stress, things like that affect.
And a young man taking an exam to get a job on the state dam. A young man, do you hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The question was, what does hydrodynamics mean? And the young man wrote down, it means I don't get the job.
Oh. I think it probably means water power, right?
And
it
another,
does.
Yeah.
a man went to Atlanta City and he vowed he would not bet on the roulette wheel, that he would only watch the roulette wheel go around, and that he would bet mentally, and in no time at all he lost his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Roulette is, I remember learning this in statistics class over 20 years ago, maybe like 25 years ago. At the time, they were saying that the roulette wheel has the best odds for the gambler. And they're not even 50-50. They're less than that, because on a roulette wheel, it's not just red and black. There's also these green spaces. But it says that everything else in a casino or any sort of gambling, all of them have odds that are worse than the roulette wheel. And my takeaway was, you know, like, this all seems so stupid. Why would anyone do it, right? I didn't think, oh, that means I should be playing the roulette wheel. None of it was interesting to me to begin with. But yeah, I remember learning that the roulette wheel has the best chances for the gambler.
Interesting. One woman said to another, you see this jewelry? Yes. Well, it once belonged to a millionaire. Who? F.W. Woolworth.
She's too young.
Is that's
she
who
bought it.
founded Woolworth's department store?
Yeah, Frank. You remember Frank Woolworth?
Nope, I don't. I've heard of Woolworth, but I never knew that there, you know, the person who it was named for.
They had one in Hadley. They had a Woolworth store in Hadley.
Really?
I think so.
I wonder what that was. Woolworth? Huh. It's sure, maybe that's what we'll look up next.
And Okie dokie, honey.
Yeah. It says that its headquarters were New York City, founded by Frank Winfield Woolworth in 1850. He was alive from 1852 to 1919. The originator of the 5 and 10 variety store. Woolworth founded its first 5-cent stores in Utica, New York, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania in 1879.
Interesting.
Well, maybe we'll read that Britannica article next time.
It's interesting. And Franklin interviewed J.C. Penney.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did.
That's neat. Yeah, all right. Well, maybe let's talk about stuff like that on Wednesday.
All righty.
Okay, so I will call you at 8:30 on Wednesday, and and we can talk about some of the history of things like that. I think that's neat. Probably 17 years ago, there was a show that came out on TV called Mad Men. And it was called that because it was about the advertising men on Madison Avenue in New York City, right? You I'm sure knew that they were called the Mad Men. And I knew nothing of the history, but I just had seen some TV commercials, and I thought, oh, this looks very fascinating. And also I found that the style of dress and the way the sets were done, all of that, because it was historical, I found it to be very interesting. And I realized that through watching this series, which was just about fictional characters, there were also real pieces of history interwoven, like, like the election and like the Hare Krishna months and all of these other things. They were woven into the storyline, but some of it was, I don't know if this is a real story or not, but this woman, Rachel Menken, where, in the TV series, she had Menken's department store. And it was neat. It was neat to learn a little bit about that, and to see what a glamorous endeavor shopping was back then. Really that people had to be so dressed up even to go to the store. So
I think we're about
I certainly find that an interesting
22
topic,
minutes, if I do my math
I'd
right.
love to hear, what Franklin had shared with you.
Yeah, with J.C. Penney.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, the best story of the whole day is how the consumer caregivers, the story. That's the best one of the whole day.
Caregivers, yeah. Yep. I know, it was so funny. Okay. All right, well, Glendora, happy Monday. I hope you enjoy some fresh air. I think today...
Monday, you mean Wednesday, don't you? Don't you mean Wednesday?
No, I'm saying enjoy your Monday because today is Monday and I'm saying goodbye. And then enjoy your Tuesday, and I will call you on Wednesday.
Oh, very, very good, honey. And I really would recommend the annual meeting of the Christian Science Church.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm not going to go to that. That doesn't work for my schedule. I just, I squeeze in as much as I can, but I have a lot of, other things I have to do.
I didn't tell you about the morning that I was in the church, and the minister announced from the pulpit, this afternoon at 5 o'clock, we are going to start a men's study group. And I stood up and I said, well, I'm coming. I've been studying men for 70 years and I still don't understand them.